Hello everyone. So we'll be adding some more new logics to our simple process simulation that we created in Arena. So this time we would like to add a new variable that would track the total working process of entities in our system. So how to do that? We'll open our Arena file where we have created some of the logics that I showed in the previous videos. So go ahead and click Basic Process Panel and select the data module called variable. So the variable, let's just go ahead and name it V total WIP. So this is a variable we created. It will track the total number of entity that is being flowing in our system so far. All right. Next, we'll go to the assign module and go to end of list and click on add, and then we'll assign a new assignment for the variable we just created. So by default in type, variable will be selected. So just keep that, and then in the variable name you'll find v total time. So when an entity is flowing through this assign module, we want to give a new value for this new variable. Let me go ahead and show one more thing. If you go back to your variable module, you see initial values, right? So it's just a single valued variable and it's initialized at 0. So as the simulation will progress and entities will be created and entering this assign module, there will be a reassignment of this variable, which is an iterative process. All right, let's go ahead and go to the assignment we just created for the variable. So I have the variable, and then what I'll do is I'll just copy the name of this variable, just that there is no syntax error, and I'll paste it into the new value box and click and just include +1 over here. All right. So for when everything is initialized, this variable will have a value of 0. When first entity will get in, it will get a value of 1. When the second one will get in, it will get a value of 2, and third, and so on. All right. Why it will get incremented or decremented by 1? Because we are not allowing any batch arrival in our entity creation. Let's click OK. Let's go ahead and see our create module. So over here, we see that entities per arrival is 1. That ensures that each time only one entity is being created through this data module, through this flowchart module. That's why this assignment of variable is incrementing by 1 only. If it was like, let's say if we had 2 entities getting it for each creation, we would have put 2 here, and so on. Let's click OK. And then we will get another assign module, because what is work in process? It just counts the total number of entity that is in the system. So you're saying that you need to get incremented by 1 each time an entity passes through this assign module. However, when the entity leaves the system, it needs to get decremented by 1 or reduced by 1, right? Because that entity is no more staying in the system. So for that assignment, we'll get another new assign module. Before that, I'll just go ahead and place I'll just take this connection off between the drilling process and dispose module, and just put this dispose module a little below. So I'll get the new assign module and place it over here. I'll connect the output of drilling process with input of this new assign module, and then output of this assign module connected to the input of the dispose module. I'll go ahead and edit this assign module. Just name it, I'll just name it decrement v total WIP. So we're just decrementing our v total work in process variable here. So click over here, go to add variable, select v total WIP. Just copy it and paste it over here. Let's just paste it, and then I'll select -1. So before leaving, when the entities got processed through the system and then it's leaving the system, the total work in process will get decremented by 1. Let's go ahead and click OK. And then we'll click OK one more time. And let's animate. I'll just take this off now. Let's animate this variable. So I'll go to variable, and then in the drop down menu for variable, you will get to see it over here in this list. But if it's an attribute that you are trying to animate, you will need to go to build expression. All right, so I can see the variable that I just created called v total WIP. So I'll select that, and then over here in format, what it says, you can have the output of this animate variable box as a text, or if it's just a single digit value that you are expecting, you can select the first option. If you are expecting something in double figure, let's say 12, 13, 14 or something like that, you need to select this one, and so on. And if you want to get the value in decimal place, even you can select that. So let's just say it might go up to 2 digits. So I'll just select the second option from here. Actually the third option. And then I'll check in transparent background. So I'll no longer have the gray background for this box. It will be white. And then I can put a title for it. So let's just put a title called v total WIP. So if we have more than one box, we'll know that this box is animating which variable or which attribute through this title assignment. And you can also go ahead and change the font size and where you want to put, just play around with it. We'll just keep it like the way it is by default. Let's click OK. Let's paste it here. Let's put it here. All right. So see that title is over here. All right. Let's hit save and let's run the model. So we have one entity in our system right now. And then it left. Now we have another entity in our system. Now we have another entity. So 2 entities are in the system. And when they're leaving, it's getting decremented when they're passing through this assign module. And we are not considering any transfer time right now. So don't confuse that. Still, when the entity is flowing through this connector, is still in the system, but the transfer time is 0 for us right now. We'll do that later using route and station module or enter and leave module. But for now, just think after it crosses, it's like it's out of the system. All right. Let's go ahead and stop this run. Next, we are going to assign a new variable, which is a one-dimensional variable that would track the total number of part A and part B that have entered our system so far. So we created a single valid variable. Now we're gonna create a one-dimensional variable. Let's see how we can do that. We'll go to Arena, and then over here, I'll go to variable data module. And I'll create a variable called v number of parts. And then we would like to track the number of parts for A and B separately. That's why we will initialize it to 2 rows and 1 column. Why I always create this extra one, I don't know. Let me just go ahead and delete it. All right. So if I double click here, so in the, I think I should click over here. If I double click here, I'll see that a 2 by 1 matrix has been created. We don't need to write 1 here. By default, it's 1. All right. Let's click OK. Okay. Next, where we should do this assignment? We should do this assignment in this assign part feature module. Double click on it and go to end of list. click add. In variable, we'll select variable array 1D and then variable name v number of parts. And then we have to tell Arena which row it should passes to this new, which row value it should pass to the reassignment of this new variable. So it will depend on my part type. So if part type is 1, then okay, let me just create it first. And then my part type. And then I'll just clear 1. So initially it's 0. So if the first part is a part type 1, so the first row of this variable called v number of part will get incremented by 1. And next part, if it's part 1 again, then the current value of this v part is 1, and then another one will be added, making it up to 2, and so on. Same goes for part type B. Hit OK, and then OK, and then save it. Let's go ahead and try to animate it through this variable. I'll click variable, and over here I'll select my v number of part. Okay, and then I want to see it separately for part A and separately for part B. So I'll go ahead and paste it here and then title it v for part A, or I'll just title it as part A. And then I'll get another one and it will be row 2. That means my part B will be, the total number of part B will be shown in this box that has entered the system so far. Okay, they're so not similar in shape and size. That's okay, I guess. Okay, let's go ahead and save this file. And let's run our model. So the first one is a part B object. So part B got incremented by 1. The next one is part A. And this is showing our total work in progress. Next one is part B, and then it's flowing out, but this one is not getting decremented because we just want to track the total number of part A and part B in the system that has been generated within this simulation run. So we created a 1D variable. Let's go ahead and stop this run. And let's go back to our Word file and see what would be our next logic that we would like to add. We'd like to create a new variable, a 2D variable that would track the total number of part A and part B that has entered the system, like the one we just did for a 1D variable, and the total working process for each part. So let me go back here. So for this one, we were tracking the total number of working process for entities. It wasn't specific for part A or part B. And over here, we were just tracking the total number of part A and part B that has been produced in our system so far. Now we want to track two things together: the total number of part A and part B in the system and the total work in progress for part A and part B separately. We'll go to variable and then double click here and create a new variable called v number of parts and total WIP. Okay. And then we need to initialize it to 2, and we should initialize the column to 2 as well, because we'll be tracking two variables. We'll have 2 rows because we have 2 kinds of part, and 2 columns because in the first column we'll be tracking the total number of parts, and in the second column we'll be tracking the total number of work in process. All right. Before that, I will just delete this variable animate boxes and then we'll create new ones. All right, so I initialize that over here. I'll go back to my assign part feature and hit end of list. All right, the sequence of this assignment matters if they are dependent on each other. Let's say attribute my part type needs to be assigned before I am assigning a part picture to it, because I need to know my part type beforehand. I can know my picture. My service time is also dependent on my part type. So if my part type is somewhere in between here, then Arena will give you an error. So just think whether the assignments are independent or not. If they are not, then they should be sequentially placed here. Over here, let's say variable vTotal WIP. Does it depends on my part type? No. So if I put this one up here, that's even fine. However, we did it in sequence, that's why it's here. So if something is referenced in one of the assignment that comes after the one that is currently here, make sure they're sequentially done. All right, for this one, I need my part type, right? So I can't put this one before this. I have to put this one after this. Maybe it doesn't matter if I put it after this or before this, because these are independent things. Just think logically. If the assignments are dependent, then just put them in sequential order. So entity will get the assignment first and then go and look for next assignment. So over here, let's go to end of list. Let's click add. Let's select a 2D variable. Variable name is v number of part underscore total WIP. Row would be still my part type, because it need to put the total number of parts for part type A and part type B separately. Same goes for work in process. So still the row will be addressed as my part type. And then we would like to assign this new assignment for column 1 only. All right, let me go ahead and select this variable name and put it here. And then first I have to put the row argument, which is my part type. And the second one is I'm referencing column 1. And then I'll add class 1. So every time an entity of part type A is created, then my first row and first column of this matrix will get incremented by 1. And every time my part 2 is created, it will get increment the second row, first column of this variable will get incremented by 1. All right. You can write it on a pen and paper and check it. So that will, I think that will make it more easier to visualize. Let's go ahead and click OK. Next assignment we want to do is for the second column of this variable. So I'll still go ahead and select variable 2D. And variable name would be v part type. Rows will be my part type again. But now we'll be referencing column 2. Variable name would be this, v number of part and total working process. First we have to give the row argument like we did for our previous assignment, and then column would be 2, and then I'll add 1. So each time if it's part 1, my first row, second column will get incremented by 1. Each time it is part 2, then the second row and column 2 box will get incremented by 1. So I'll just click OK and then OK over here. So like we did for our v total work in process, we have to decrement the total work in process for part A and part B similarly. Double click over here, go to end of list, click add. So we are doing an assignment for a 2D variable we created. Name of the variable is this one. Row is my part type. column is 2. And then over here, we will just copy this variable name and then paste here. And then we will put our row index, which is part type, and then column 2 and -1. So if part A was created, working process for row 1, column 1 got incremented by 1. And before it leaves this, like after it's done with the drilling, before it leaves the system, this variable, this value in row 1, column 1 will get decremented by 1. Same goes for part 2. Click OK, click OK. All right. We will try to visualize it here using the variable, animate variable box. All right. So let's go ahead and select this one. This is the 2D variable we created. And let's get the first output for part type A and first column, which is total number of part type A in the system. That's why I put 1 and 1. This is for part A. Okay. We will use our text to define it. All right. Let's go click OK. Let's place it here. Okay. Let's get text module and write part A. I'll just put that one over here. And then I'll get another text for number, for defining the column name, number of parts. So I'll put that here. And then I'll just try to put this 0 on right. Okay. Then I'll get the same thing for part type 2. So in row, I'll reference it to 2. The rest remains same. And then I'll paste it here. And then the 0, I want it on the right side. When I say right side, I mean this side, not on this left side. All right, let me get a text for part 2. Part B or part 2, sorry about that. Okay, part B. Next, I'll get another text for total WIP and paste it here. And then get more additional element box. So I want to know the total number of part A that is in my system. So I'll in index I'll put 1 and then I'll put column 2. All right, click OK and then I'll paste it here. And then I want it on the right side. And then, sorry about that. And then I'll get another variable and then I want the same thing for my part B or 2. I'll put it here. Double click on it, go to right. So we are getting what over here? We are getting the number of part A and part B in the system and then total work in process for part A and part B separately. And this value will be changed whenever we'll have an event occurred in our simulation model, as we are doing a discrete time simulation. We're not doing a continuous time simulation. So whenever an event will happen, these values will change. Let's go ahead and hit save and run our model. So first one is part B. So part B got incremented and when it passed through this assign module, it got decremented. Now it's part A and then again part B. So accordingly, this will get animated. If we run it faster, see the total work in process is getting incremented and decremented, but this thing is getting increased because it's an accumulated number and we are not reducing it. Why? Because it's just giving us the number of part. It's a count. All right. So that concludes our tutorial for this logic. See you in the next video. Thank you.